I want to give all praise and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahushai Bahasham Ha Rekah Kodash. Double honors unto our apostle elders, which rule great millstone well, and shalom to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel. May you endure unto the end. Shalom Ba. This is Psalm 77, verse 1. It says, to the chief musician, to Jeduthun, let me see. Jeduthun, a psalm of Asaph. Let me see, translation comparison. It says, for Jeduthun, the choir director, a psalm of Asaph. So Asaph is a Levite musician in the time of King David. And as it says, Jeduthun, the choir director. All right. So that we have context, it says, I cried unto power with my voice, even unto power with my voice, and he gave ear unto me. And that word there, all right, is Elohim. So it's really plural. It's powers, and it's the divine ones. All right. The Lord has an elect group of men of the nation of Israel on earth, and we're sighing and crying and prophesying. All right. So it says in Isaiah 1 verse 3, it says, the ox knoweth his owner, and the ass his master's crib, but Israel does not know, my people does not consider. And we see that with all these videos coming out of their hatred, right? You got these Israelites showing hatred for the Hebrew Israelites, right? They do not know, and they do not consider, and they do not know their master's crib. All right. They're going to be destroyed for the lack of knowledge, and they lack knowledge because we're oppressed by the so-called white man, Esau, Edom, and the other nations. It says in Isaiah 1 verse 9, except Yahweh of hosts had left unto us a very small remnant, we should have been as Sodom, and we should have been like unto Gomorrah. So the Lord's bringing a judgment on earth, and he's going to destroy America, a.k.a. Babylon the Great, with nuclear missiles that the allies of this place and its enemies have. All right, they're going to use it to destroy America, and the Lord's going to come and save us from that destruction, the second death, which is going to cause America to turn into a lake of fire. All right, so the Lord's going to deliver us from this judgment. That's why in Revelation 18, all right, and it's going to happen in the twinkling of an eye, but it says in Revelation 18, and let's see. Yeah, right here in verse 4. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, which is going to be from heaven, out of a chariot. And he's talking to the Hebrew Israelites, so he's going to be speaking in Hebrew, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. And that's why he's calling us out through the Spirit, and eventually it's going to be that we're called out of this earth and into the chariots, into the chariot that the Lord rides upon, which we're going to be changed and made like him. All right. So he's putting that spirit on us right now to prepare us like a bride to meet her groom. We're being prepared to meet Yahushai. Just like here, if you were to meet a king, he wouldn't want to meet you all stinky and dirty and all fucked up, especially if they've been torturing you. So he would have you cleaned up before you come before the king, right? They did that to Joseph when he was in the prison, because there was a lie that he committed adultery with the master that he had at that time, which was an Egyptian oppressor, all right, that he touched the wife, all right. So he was put in prison, and when they brought him out of the prison, they cleaned him up first before they put him before Pharaoh to break down the dream of Pharaoh, right? Which they would have 3 years of fatness and 3 years of famine, right? And he would eventually come to be found as the Savior, which he would save his brothers from that famine, right? It says, for her sins have reached unto heaven, because literally they're trying to go to heaven, and they're persecuting the men of the nation of Israel, which are heaven on earth, all right? And Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, hath remembered her iniquities, because we're going to cry and pray that the Lord punish this place, and he's going to send his son, Yahweh Shai, and he's going to avenge us. It says, reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her double according to her works. In the cup which she hath filled to her double. How much she hath glorified herself and lived deliciously on the backs of the Israelites, so much torment and sorrow give her. For she said in her heart, I sit a queen and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. Therefore shall her plagues, Babylon the Great, come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire because of the nuclear missiles. For strong is the Lord Yahweh, sending his son Yahweh Shai, who judgeth her. See? And they're going to try to persecute us because we pray for this day. All right? Psalm, 77. All right? We're in this. So really, Asaph in this song is prophesying of the elect coming, into existence, and prophesying the downfall of Babylon the Great. All right? It says, in the day of my trouble, I sought the Lord. My sore ran in the night, and ceased not. My soul refused to be comforted. I remembered power and was troubled. I complained, and my spirit was overwhelmed. Selah. Because really, Asaph, all right, he's one of the elect today. So he's in his, pretty much he's seeing the things that are going to come to pass in these last days. And he's troubled, and he wants to prophesy. You see? And like he said, he's overwhelmed by it. Just like all the men of Israel that have part in this book, in these books, with their visions, which we're breaking down today because it's coming to pass. All right? It says, thou holdeth mine eyes waking, which the Lord has woken us up from not knowing who we are. I am so troubled that I cannot speak, right? Oppression makes a wise man mad. You're so overwhelmed with emotion because you learned the truth that you can't even speak. But you want to tell everybody, you know what I mean? It says, I have considered the days of old. So he's looking into the past, into our history, which that's what we have in these scriptures, is the history of our people. The years of ancient times I call to remembrance, which that's what the Holy Spirit is doing to the elect men. It's causing us to remember. It says, I call to remembrance my song in the night. We're in that night. It's a dark time. It's a very dark time. They're about to start sending, Jake all over the world in these prison camps that are known for violence, right? They're going to make an implantable microchip mandatory for buying and selling. Yesterday, I went into a restaurant, and they act like I didn't even exist. You know what I'm saying? They were just standing there ignoring me like I was a ghost. You see? So that hatred is being roused up against Jake. All right? But they're going to find themselves fighting against the Lord, because the Lord is with the Israelite, the so-called Negro, Latino, and Native American Indian. Now, the 2/3 reprobate, you may be able to put him to death, or you may not. He may put you to death. All right? But the Lord is for the Israelites, starting with the elect. All right? And you're not going to be able to do shit against us. All right? It says once you come up against us, that's the end for you. All right? Even these reprobates, they're just fat. They're just the fat that separates us from the Edomite sword to the Israelite. But once they get killing, they're going to slaughter a lot of these Jake. All right? And they're going to, attack back. As prophesied, you're going to have war in the streets, but the elect are going to eat. We're going to drink. We're witnesses. All we're here to do is see the Lord's power work and testify. All right, which we speak of Yahushua. He's going to come and deliver us from the judgment that everyone else is going to have to suffer. It says, I call to remembrance my song in the night, which we're singing this song. I commune with mine own heart, and my spirit made diligent search, right? That's why we do these videos, because we're searching these scriptures, and it says that we're not to use the Lord's name in vain. So we're to produce with these scriptures, edifying videos to feed the sheep, so that the Israelites could have a fair chance at their salvation. It says, will the Lord cast off forever? Which we're exiled from the land of Israel. That's why you're not supposed to go back. And will he be favorable no more? No, he shows us favor. Him bringing us into remembrance in the land of our captivity, which it was told to us that we were not the children of Israel. We're remembering ourselves. All right? Which we're a self-conscious people. So what do? We go and tell each other what I have seen, what I have heard, what I have remembered. And that's what Esau don't want, because he's working on you being a brain-dead, homeborn slave. It says, is his mercy clean, gone forever? Doth his promise fail forevermore? No. The Lord is long-suffering for his elect's sake. Romans 9. It says, had our power forgotten to be gracious? No, he's instructing us right now. It just wasn't in the time, in the past. It's in this time that we're living in today that we have the instruction to salvation. All right? They had the vision in the past, but the instruction is coming through on this generation, because this is the generation which we receive salvation. And that's why 1 Corinthians 1 and 18, this is the message for the Israelites that are going to be saved. All right? It says, had he in anger shut up his tender mercies? Selah. Think about that, because the word says his mercy endureth forever. So really, he's giving us mercy. He sent us into slavery for many generations because of our sin, which he used us in taking down these other kingdoms. All right, and that's what these Edomites don't get. He allowed you to take us into slavery, just like you let a fish take in a hook so that you could pull it up later and pull him up with it. And that's what the Lord's going to do. He's gonna uproot the Edomite, that big fish that's going to bite down onto the Israelite in persecution. All right? He's going to get him, and he's going to burn him into extinction. It says, and I said, this is my infirmity. And what is his infirmity? To know that the Lord is for you, but to always have a war going on in you of good and evil. Pretty much, the Lord doesn't love you. And the Lord does love you, because the Lord Everyone that he loves, he chastises and rebukes. So it's a constant battle going on in our mind. There's even a movie called Constantine. And if you watch that, really what that is a battle going on in the mind of that man Constantine. But his name meaning Constantine, meaning constant, steady, all right? And he was supposed to be working for the Lord, in the movie. But they do a lot of foolishness, like making Gabriel an Edomite woman, when in fact he would look more like a so-called American Negro, but angelic. And the woman that Constantine falls in love with, which was played by Keanu Reeves, is the woman from Mummy, which represents the resurrection, which even the elect are being resurrected and before your eyes. We were wicked. Our lives were wicked. We were occupied with self-worship and worship of idols, and the Lord converted us. And that's what we're telling you. It's not of us. There's a power that is working with us that stopped us from living worldly lives and have converted us to live lives of stoic lives, following Yahweh Shai, our head, all right, prophesying as we live, learning, growing in our grace, all right, and we're going to be persecuted for it. So just like Yahweh Shai was found innocent, we're going to be innocent in the Lord's eyes because of Yahweh Shai. And so when they persecute us, the Lord fights for the innocent. So he's going to deliver his innocent that cry, sighing and crying and prophesying, like it says in 2 Ezra 15. It says in Psalm 77, verse 10, and I said, this is my infirmity, but I will remember the years, which also Apostle Paul spoke of this battle of faith going on with him in Romans 7. The things that I don't want to do, I find myself doing, and when I do them, I go and I search the law of Yahweh, right? And he finds a law working within his flesh against his spirit. So he serves the Lord with his mind, but the flesh he knows is subject to sin until we get those new bodies. Yahweh Shai, he had to go against Satan in Matthew 4, which he literally went against Satan, the angel, which was trying to tempt him. In the flesh, this is a battle in the mind more than a battle between flesh. All right? It says in verse 10, and I said, this is my infirmity, but I will remember the years of the right hand of the Most High, which Yahweh gave us his word, and his word tells us of the righteous men of our nation. Hebrews 11, right? Gives us a list of Hebrew Israelites that had faith, even back into the ancients when the name Israel didn't even really exist. All right? I mean, it existed, but we weren't called that. You know what I'm saying? Because really, Israel is a sentence. Yah, Shah, Allah. He, Prince, Power. That Prince also is used as upright, meaning the righteous one. All right? And when you go into that, the way it's being said, he, and you read, as we named Edom, and Edom, when he sees our power working through us, he literally is the one that says, he, the upright one, Prince of power. The power is with him. That's why they got robot dogs. That's why when the police are called on a so-called Negro, Latino, or Native American Indian, they come with a freaking cavalry, because really they know we have spiritual power. All right? But they got to keep you all bugged out so that you don't use that power. Call upon the power, Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. Because really, the law says the Lord makes war with Amalek. And Amalek are those small hat, big nosed bastards, the counterfeits in our land, which ruled the world. All right, and they built America as a prison camp for the Israelite, the true Israelite, the so-called Negro, Latino, and Native American Indian. So they don't want us waking up, because it's a threat to their kingdom. All right. And they're weak, So they're terrified right now. Seeing us do these videos, hearing the destruction of their kingdom prophesied in the word of Almighty Yahweh, who could they pray to? Right? They're fucked. And we rejoice in that. Just like they rejoiced when we were without our power. But our power never left us. He was showing us his judgments. See? And we had a drink of that cup, which you Edomites and you other nations have partooken in our suffering, and still rejoice in our suffering and increase the suffering, right? Now that we remember ourselves. So you're going to be destroyed and you're going to be enslaved. The remnant of your elite that survived this destruction of the kingdom of Edom, all right? The elite of your race that are going to be in these bunkers, we're going to gather and enslave them and breed them and bring you back, the ones that died on this side, and you're going to wake up in slavery. Just like we were born in slavery, not knowing who we were. But you're going to know who you were, and you're going to know what you did, and you're going to live a brutal, brutal punishment for 1,000 years with no mercy. No one's coming to save you. All right? It says, I will remember the works of Yahweh. Surely I will remember thy wonders of old. And that's what we're doing. We're teaching our people the truth, right, through the word of Yahweh, which has our history. This is our heritage. And then you want to kill us? You want to destroy us? And you know what? I was thinking about it with I heard this report of the Chinese saying, we're not going to bow down to Trump or America. Well, why do they have the right to say no and the Israelites don't? Right? They let these other nations say yes or no, but the Israelites are not given that right? Who the fuck are you, heathen? You unclean bastards. You're going to be destroyed in your pride, and you're going to witness our salvation, and you're going to consider it in that lake of fire, and then once we get you in that 1,000 years of slavery, we're going to help you remember. You're going to remember what you've done unto us. Every fucking thing, every thought, every word, right? You think you got away with it, but you're going to remember as your brains are being stomped out of your chest. You know what I'm saying? Because we're going to have power beyond measure, and we're going to exercise it on you, heathen, which tortured us in slavery. All right, even these low-level Edomites, the low-level heathen on the other nations, just their little talking shit about your little whispers against us. You know how they say, like, Jake, go get their nails done, and the Chinese be in there talking shit? You're going to have to pay for that shit. Because those women, even though they're fucked up right now, those Jake women that go in there and pay that money to get their nails done, those are princesses of the nation of Israel. You're going to have to answer for that. See? So while you're in your low state, we're going to talk shit about you. While you're suffering, we're going to hiss at you. We're going to, like, what the fuck? You're going to ask for help, and we're going to get off of me. You ain't going to get nothing. It says, I will meditate also of all thy work and talk of all thy doings, which the Lord's going to do that. He promised it to our king, King David, and Yahushua is the King of kings, and he's coming to take away the authority of these kings and give it to the Israelites, because we are a nation of kings and priests. It says, thy way, which Yahushua is the way, O power, is in the sanctuary. Who is so great a power as our power? Who could come against us? Who has power like we have power? Our power created the heaven and the earth to remind us of our power and our Savior. Thou art the power that doth wonders. Thou hast declared thy strength among the people. You're going to witness his power in us. When they come in like a flood to harm us, there's going to be a a lifted standard, which we're going to give off light. We're going to actually have such a light that it's going to blind them and burn them that come against us. And eventually they're going to have to meet our Father, because he's coming in the spirit of those nuclear missiles. And he's sending his son, Yahushua, to save us and to fulfill these prophecies, the word of Yahweh. All right, but that glorious glow that is given to us, just like it's been given to Yahushua, all right, we receive it through Yahushua, is our power, Yahweh. All right, it says, thou hast declared thy strength among the people, and that's why the people are going to say, his God is with him. And there's a movie clip from Samson, and he's fighting those Philistines where he kills 1,000 Philistines. Just look it up on YouTube. And you'll hear when he starts smashing them and throwing them off of him, there's this little part where you hear the voice of one of the Philistines in English saying, he's unstoppable. His power is with him. That's Yasharallah. That's them saying that in English. He, Prince, power. He is a power with God and man, and they're going to witness it. It says, thou hast with thine arm, Yahushua, redeemed thy people, the Israelites, the sons of Jacob and Joseph, Selah, because the promise that Ephraim and Manasseh would be part of the fold, which are the so-called Puerto Ricans and the so-called Cubans today. All right, they're the sons of Joseph. They were added on to the sons of Jacob in the time of Egypt. It says, the waters saw thee, O power, the waters saw thee, they were afraid, the people. The depths also were troubled. It says, the clouds poured out water, the sky sent out a sound, thine arrows also went abroad. So just like the rain came down and destroyed the mockers of the time of Noah, right, and glorified Yahweh, these nuclear missiles, which are the arrows, they're going to do the same thing. They're going to come and just drown the people in fire. And the elect are going to be saved by being separated from it. And the Lord is going to separate us. Just like the ark separated Noah and his family from suffering the flood. All right, we're going to be scarcely saved. We're going to see these flames, but they're not going to touch us. In the twinkling of an eye, we're going to be saved. It says, the voice of thy thunder was in the heaven, the lightnings lightened the world, the earth trembled and shook, because the Lord's coming as a lightning, and his men have been like thunder on earth, and he's going to fulfill these prophecies, and we're going to be together with him when this judgment happens, and we're going to look down upon the adversaries of Yahweh Ba'asham, Yahushai, and rejoice. It says, thy way, remember, Yahushai is the way, is in the sea, and thy path in the great waters, and thy footsteps are not known, which the prophets are out here, but they're not appreciating it, right? It says, we have sung, but you have not danced. So these Israelites, they're not participating. The Lord's about to punish you for the lack of faith, all right, for the lack of honor and respect to his name and his Father's name. It says, thou leadest thy people like a flock, which he gives you shepherds, by the hand of Moses and Aaron, which Moses and Aaron came back, all right, and prophesied. Malachi 4, verse 5, which Abba Bivens is Aaron. He was Elijah. It says in Malachi 4, verse 5, behold, I send you Elijah, which is Aaron, the prophet, before the coming of the great and dreadful day of Yahweh. And he shall turn the heart of the fathers to the sons, and the heart of the sons to their fathers, lest I come and smite the earth with a curse, which you had the elders of one west that received that lot from Abba Bivens, which he was preaching in 1969 in Harlem. And then it went to the seven, and then Alpha Them, which broke up. The One West school broke up, and the head elders today are the elders of Great Millstone, which rule well and which taught us the truth. All right. And he came and he done this so the day of the Lord could come, as it was promised. All right. And King David, he came as King Masha, one of the ones of seven, of one west. All right. He was King Masha, Jeremiah 30, verse. So it says 7. Allah's for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. So he sent the leaders to begin to prophesy to the Israelites so that the elect could be remembered and be saved out of it. For it shall come to pass in that day, saith Yahweh of hosts, that I will break his yoke from off thy neck. Pretty much we're learning the truth. And will burst thy bonds, which he's going to shut this place down where there is no more work. You're not going to be busy with working. You're going to be busy praying, all right, that the Lord save us. It says, and strangers shall no more serve themselves of him. So he's going to shut Babylon the Great down like he promised in Isaiah 14. It says in verse 9, but they shall serve Yahweh their power, and David their king, which King Masha has came. He was preaching, all right. Now we're under the head apostles of Great Millstone, whom I will raise up unto them. Therefore, fear thou not, O my servant Jacob. So if you're doing what the Lord expects you to do, you're a servant of, his servant, and you're an Israelite, saith Yahweh. And you got to be literally born with the gift of faith. All right, this is a gift that is given to who the Lord wills, not who plays that part, because you got spies. All right, but the one, it's going to be a gift that the ones that are saved, it's a gift. It ain't like we did anything good or evil. That's why we're speaking about it through the Spirit, is because we received that gift. Saith Yahweh, neither be dismayed. So don't be afraid, O Israel. For lo, I will save thee from afar. He's going to send his son with the angels, and thy seed from the land of their captivity. And Jacob shall return, which we're going to go back to our promised land, and shall be in rest. All those Edomites are going to be out of there, and we're going to have a new land, right? Because he's going to burn that land with fire with those Edomites in it, and we're going to get a new land, and we're going to get all the heathen for slaves. And be quiet, and none shall make him afraid, because we'll be most definitely the superior race, because we're going to be bigger, stronger, faster, more righteous, and we're going to have that authority. As soon as you think something that's out of order, your brains are going to be taken out your cannon. All right? It says, for I am with thee, saith Yahweh, to save thee. Though I make a full end of all nations, whether I have scattered thee, which he's going to pretty much destroy their history and bring them into the leadership of the Israelites. We're going to have them, and we're going to re-educate them in brutal slavery for 1,000 years, which Edom will never get it, and that's why he's going to be made extinct. All right, but the other nations, they're going to be preserved to serve us, and they're going to rejoice in doing so because they're going to be re-educated. All right, it says, yet will I not make a full end of thee. So he's going to save us, the Israelites, but I will correct thee in measure. 1/3 will be saved, 2/3 will perish in America, and will not leave thee altogether unpunished. which he's going to punish those 2/3 because they didn't believe in Yahweh Shai and what he done for the Israelites. Yahweh is going to leave them by having Yahweh Shai rejecting them here in America, but they're going to be born as children to the elect in the kingdom of heaven, and they'll be perfect in mind and in flesh. Shalom to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel. May you endure unto the end. Shalom wa ba ba ba.